Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, and in today's video, I want to do a little bit of a retrospective. And what are we retrospecting exactly? I want to take a look at all of the, well, not all the characters, some of the characters that we have had in the last year, maybe year and a bit. And I want to go over their release methods and whether or not they were friendly or not, and how this has changed between then and now. Namely, we had a variety of different release methods for characters that we no longer really have anymore, and what that's been replaced with, well, I mean, you guys can kind of guess, is that we've had, since May anyways, we've had the month-long events and some of the events that have been within that month-long event as well. So I kind of want to take a look at all that and kind of see whether things were better before or are they better now. So if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. Oh, there I am. It always takes like 2 seconds for it to show up. Anyways, so I want to start with, I think, over here. I'm going to zoom in because this is the important part. And this is going to, let's go to, you know what, we'll briefly gloss over this. So Kestrel was a really, you know, they've had some really easy releases for these OG characters for the most part, because even for Spider Weaver, she was a campaign event, and then we had Deathpool and Kestrel, and I believe all of them were campaign events, so that was at least friendly for their OGs. Now, you guys might forget, over here is the release method, by the way, Calling and Wing and Misty Knight, they were both Blitz 100 shard unlocks. Now, I'm curious, let me know in the comments down below, do you miss the old style of Blitz releases, where you would blitz for 3 days in a row? Well, you know, for some of us anyways who wanted to compete for that top 1%, we would do 7 or 8 rotations for 3 days straight and then repeat that again the following week. So it was essentially 6 days over 2 weeks. Or do you guys prefer the way that events are now, where in some instances it's blitzing 7 days straight, I guess, for a month-long event, or let's say Hulkbuster or Agatha? We'll get to that as we scroll down. I don't know. You know, I think I almost miss these old Blitz style releases, because even if you're not going for the top 1%, let's say you're just going for the 55 shard payout. That was what it was before, I think. And so that was 21 shards from the milestone plus 55. That was 76 shards, and that was top 10%. I believe, or and you can correct me in down below. My point is that, like, you could get about 150 shards or even 100 to 150 shards for what I would personally think is less effort than what some of these events are now, that are still requiring you to blitz, just in a different way. But I'm curious about your perspective on that one. Now, Phyla-Vell was a campaign event, that's fine. Moondragon was the Pride event milestone for last year. You know, honestly, I don't remember this one too much. So I kind of want to jump ahead a little bit. We had Sharon Carter. This is July. Sharon Carter was a campaign event. Maria Hill Blitz 100. Capsam is the Strike Pass release in July of 2021. Also kind of curious if you guys would be amenable to, was that the right use of the word? To a Strike Pass release now. So Capsam had, I'm pretty sure, had 2 instances of the Strike Pass, I think, or was it only 1? Polaris had 2, I'm pretty sure, because she was the second Strike Pass character. It was Silver Surfer, and then Polaris, and then Capsam. I thought Capsam had 2 Strike Passes. I think he did. So that means you'd be able to get a 3-star for 100 shards, but it would take 2 months. Or you could get a 4-star, which would be 200 shards if you bought the Season Pass. So kind of curious what your guys' thoughts are on Strike Pass releases. Now, Deathpool, like I said, was a campaign event character. Shang-Chi. Now, this was, I think, the very start of the event store. However, you weren't able to buy shards for him through the event store, so it was kind of weird. But by and large, I actually really enjoyed events that had event stores. And I'm really disappointed that these Strike Pass tokens things that we have ongoing right now is not related to an event store. It's essentially milestone points, but I thought there was going to be more to it. I thought that it was going to be a currency that we could spend to buy more stuff, but, you know, it's been a while since we've had an event store, but I believe that was one of the better instances of release methods and events in general. I really like the event store, and it was a good way for people to buy what they wanted, whether it was character shards or teal gear or whatever, right? I really enjoyed that. Cloak and Dagger were a mixed release. It was a weird one with orbs that had Strike Pass and Blitz. This was a weird time. This was very controversial, I believe, because it was like both characters, but you had to choose the orb and you had to mix and match your shards to make sure you got them unlocked, and they were both 100 shard unlocks. I think if they were lower, if they were 45 or one of them was 45, this would have been a little bit easier, but otherwise this was a really, really weird time. Just go back if you're curious, like a year ago, on videos around that. Weapon X, Silver Samurai was an event campaign. Lady Deathstrike was a milestone event store. So you could actually buy her shards through the event store. Now, you were also able to buy the Venom costume. And so for me, stupidly, I was like, because this is when symbiotes were still usable. And I bought the Venom costume instead of buying more shards for Lady Deathstrike. So I didn't get 5-star Lady Deathstrike, but you very well could have if you spent your event currency on that. And a lot of people did. And I'm not like kidding myself, because I think that the costume was worth like 80 to 100 shards for Lady Deathstrike, so I don't know if that was a good trade-off for me or not. Omega Red Legendary Event, that was the last of the sort of style in that way, where we had, 5 characters previously, although it was Nick Fury as well, so legendary within a legendary, sort of. But that was the last before we got Morgan Le Fay, I'm pretty sure. Cersei, Icarus, this was an event. So Cersei was an event campaign. Icarus was a milestone event plus store. This was actually another easy 5-star. This was kind of like Lady Deathstrike. They were very good to the players in terms of being able to buy Icarus shards. I was able to get them to 5-star. Not everyone did, but you could get a solid 4.5 to 5-star. I believe it was like how far you went in the milestone to get the currency in order to buy the shards. But by and large, for some of the best characters in the game, this was very favorable when it first came out. It's just unfortunate how long it took for them to, and Icarus still isn't farmable, because they're so powerful. But this was a good event when it did come out. Now, Magic was an event campaign. An event plus a store. My bad. I don't remember this one too much. I don't remember it being very good. I believe there was a store, but the shards were finite. And I think that's why I labeled her orange, because typically when I label characters orange, that means that the release is kind of meh. And so this was probably like a 3-star. If I'm not mistaken, I think the total shards for Magic was about 100 shards, so it wasn't super great. Ghost Spider was still a blitz, and same with T'Challa was still a blitz. So we were still using the blitz system for a fair while until it stopped later on after this. Scarlet Spider was the Fresh Horizons event. This was related to Pocket Dimension, the very first Pocket Dimension. Very low amount of shards, so I didn't like that part, but I do like Pocket Dimension. So now, looking back at it, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Because for Scarlet Spider shards, it was pretty terrible. The 675 cores were available, and I did utilize those as well, actually. Spider-Punk was a campaign event. Pretty standard there. Going into February, we're moving up a little bit now. Echo. So I remember this event very fondly, not so fondly. It was a milestone event store, but I remember that this was it was the Mirror Images event, and even just saying that name reminds me of how I didn't like that. And now why I didn't like that, I believe there was a lot of blitzing, so that's probably a reason. But I do recall that the event store was not super kind, and they did have a leaderboard, which allowed for red stars for Echo, and I think I pulled some really big red stars for her. But I felt really bad about it, because I'm like, well, because you could get up to 4 or 5 red during the leaderboard, and it wasn't too hard to get, and I'm like, wow, I just kind of wasted some red stars on this. Kate Bishop was a Blitz 45. Now, I do appreciate that she was a 45 shard unlock. I think those, if we had more Blitz releases that were 45 shard unlocks, that would be fine, because it would be very easy for you to unlock on the first pass, because it was 21 shards in the milestone. So you only needed 25 shards in a payout to get her unlocked. Otherwise, you would have to wait for the second pass. So I think that was pretty good. And I think that if we did come back to Blitzes, I would be okay with that personally. But I would hope that they were 45 shard unlocks. Dr. Voodoo campaign event. Morbius has a milestone event. I believe this was pretty easy, but it was only about a 3-star Morbius. It was something like 150 shards. I don't believe you could get a 4-star Morbius. That's, again, why he's shaded orange and not green, because green typically means a lot of shards. And I believe that Echo was actually just, you know what, now that I remember, Echo was a flat 100 shards. I'm almost 99% certain that Echo was a flat 100 shards, and that's why people were pissed off, and that's why I have her shaded in red. Now we go into the Darkhold patch, and we have Evil Strange was a campaign event. That's fine. Wong was a Blitz 100. Now, I believe Wong was the last Blitz character to come to Marvel Strike Force, and he was a 100-star unlock, and which means that some people may not have unlocked Wong through the Blitz if you didn't, but hopefully that most people did who were playing at the time. Agatha was just a painful milestone event with lots and lots of blitzing with fragments and orbs and shit, and I'm sure you guys remember this because it was god-awful. It was one of the worst events until Hulkbuster came along. Morgan Le Fay, obviously Scourges, Madeline Pryor, milestone event. Now, this was not very friendly either. I believe this was like a 3-star, but I mean, she's not super impactful at this time, so it is what it is. We weren't really super bothered with it. And then we enter May, where the month-long events really start to happen. And so the first one was Spider-Woman, and then we had Nico Minoru as a milestone event and Blitz. I wasn't super keen on A-Force, to be honest, so I didn't really care too much about this. Let me know if you did, though, if you found these super impactful or not. Phantom X campaign event. Dazzler was the June long, and then we had Gambit. Good old Gambit with Gambit Raid. And I want to pay special attention to this one here, and I want to talk about it because I actually, on the surface, I like the Gambit event. I like the Ace of Raids event. I know that people are going to like badger me in the comments down below, but hear me out. It was a poorly executed event. The milestone numbers were garbage. The glare bracelet was garbage. The fact that they changed the way that the event worked by this because it was 2 instances of 7-day raids was garbage. However, the raid itself, I actually very encouraged the innovation. The way that they added raid nodes with Scourges was kind of neat with the characters and the different lanes, all of that. I actually really enjoyed that part. So I really hope that they would consider bringing this back again, and it gets the Boilon stamp of approval. Things that they really need to fucking work on, though, when it comes to this, is they need to make sure the math numbers are appropriate before the event launches. That's super, super important. And then making sure that you can get a reasonable amount of shards. I think that Gambit, a lot of people did not get a lot of shards. It wasn't super friendly in that manner, and so the numbers really just need adjusting. But the event on a whole, I actually would encourage to come back again. It had 9 different difficulties with first-time rewards. It was a lot of fun, actually, for better or for worse. Maybe my alliance didn't like it, but, you know, I did, and I didn't really mind this. So let me know what you think about Gambit Raid in the comments down below, and whether or not you'd like to see that coming back. Now, going into June, we had Sunfire. This was the first event of patch 6.2 in a milestone event. And then we had Rogue, of course, Mighty Thor for July long, and then Valkyrie event campaign. So not much to say here other than we had the Summer of Blunders, of course, related to Mighty Thor. And even the Dazzler event had some fuck-ups at the end, and that was never really compensated. But Mighty Thor was, because of content creators like myself and others, of course, who really pushed for everyone to get these rewards. And I'm so glad that everyone did. And that basically allowed people to get essentially a 5-star Mighty Thor because of the free 180 shards that everyone got, plus 180 for completing the event. So was really happy about the outcome for this for the community. Patch 6.3, we had Deathlock, which was month-long for August, Viv Vision event campaign, Hulkbuster. So I'm not going to go into too far details because this was basically just a rehash of Agatha. It was as bad. Some people didn't even get her unlocked. My baby account didn't get her unlocked because blitz rotations are garbage and it kind of sucks. This was the one character I did buy, actually, for this year. Was Hulkbuster, because maybe I didn't know the event was garbage at that point, or maybe I did. But I, really love raid teams, and so I did spend some money for Hulkbuster. But the event sucked, and I, can't state that enough. Abomination was month-long for September, and when they first introduced those damn orbs, instead of the flat, because Deathlock was flat shards for the month-long of August, Brawn, or Amadeus Cho, was the Brains' Brawn event, and you know what? Actually, that was really easy, I'm pretty sure. It was only about like 3.5 stars, something like that, but it was like energy spending and stuff. Like, it was a really easy event, so I'm going to give that one a pass. Spider Weaver event campaign is what it is. Red Hulk. Spider-Man 2099, October month-long, where, they added in some shards. Yeah, they did, right? Yeah, they added in shards, 30 extra shards, on top of the orbs in this, so that made it more palatable, in my opinion. And then Spider-Man Noir was like 3-star? I don't know. It wasn't very many shards for him. And then Mr. Negative, of course, nowhere to be seen, right? Like, where the flying F is him? Nowhere, still. He was released on October the 14th. I'm recording this on November the 16th, so it's been over a month since Mr. Negative's come out, and he's still nowhere to be seen. Come on, what is going on? We don't even think about Underworld anymore at this point because we're past there. We're gone. We're ready to like patch 6.6. And Iron Man Zombie, of course, is what it is. I think my biggest issues that I had with Iron Man Zombie was the amount of FOMO that was generated, and that they didn't tell us beforehand that he was going to be a dark promo credit upgrade. I didn't mind the event as such. I liked the rewards that they gave us, all of the uniques and stuff in those extra bonus missions, but I didn't like the FOMO that was generated through the dark promo credits and what that means going forward for new characters that come out that may actually require dark promos as well. Let me know in the comments down below. And of course, Black Panther is what it is for a month long. Nakia, as of recording, I don't really know too much other than she's an event campaign requiring war dogs. I don't know. We haven't got any real details on that. And Dark Beast, I expect him to be the milestone event for the 4th week of November, so towards the end of the month. And I think that patch 6.6, just to round things off and open up my calendar, I think we're going to be getting on in 2 weeks, in about Tuesday the 29th or Wednesday the 30th. I think that's going to be the patch date. And we'll be looking forward to the winter patch with the month long, including Archangel and whoever else is coming as part of that team, and more, of course. At least 6 or 7 characters, probably. So that's the end of this video, guys. Let me know. Who was some of your favorite releases in Marvel Strike Force? What are you looking forward to? And are we ever getting Mr. Negative? All that and more in the videos ahead. If you haven't kept up to date with the channel, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you ring that notification bell so that you can see my videos that come out basically every day on Marvel Strike Force. So that's the end. And until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.